Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. LSU did get a transfer portal commitment today, and it's one that we were hoping for, expecting maybe, but Jay'Viar Suggs is the most recent add to the LSU football program, the defensive lineman from Grand Valley State. Look, I've talked in depth about this add to the LSU room. I have no idea if he can play at this level or not. There are plenty examples of guys that have gone from that level up that can. There are plenty of examples of guys that have gone from that level up that cannot. I am not in the business of telling you who can and cannot play. I'm telling you that LSU has 3 scholarships left to offer, and I'm fine if they add one that they offer one to a defensive tackle. He may be a little bit undersized, depending on where you read. Is he 260? Is he 280? Maybe so. Was he wildly productive at Grand Valley State? I wouldn't suggest he was wildly productive. He was a nice player against a bunch of schools that I've never heard of. All this stuff is stuff that we've rehashed for weeks now on this show, but he's an addition to the room. And here's the deal with LSU, a defensive tackle. It is not that LSU doesn't have any defensive tackles. That's not the case. In fact, Beck, if I were to ask you how many scholarship defensive tackles does LSU have, what would your answer have been prior to me saying that?
I would have said probably 5.
Okay. So they have far more than that. They've got Kimo Makaniole. They've got Jacobian Guillory, Jalen Lee. Then you've got from this class, Bro, Johnson, McKinley. You've brought in Gio Paez. You've got Hickey that has come in as a preferred walk-on. You got Sean Washington that you brought in this class. That's 9 right there.
That's a lot.
I haven't even mentioned Paris Shand, who could potentially kick down and play. You're somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 or 10 defensive tackles on this roster. It's just the fact that I've never seen any of these guys line up against Auburn, rip through the defensive line, and make a play. None.
Yeah, you've gotten 9, but you've got 4 probably that you maybe trust actually to.
You don't
play
have
snaps.
that many that I would trust right now. Kimo Makaniole coming over from offense. Jalen Lee's been a backup for 3 years in the league. Sean Washington was in junior college last year. I just mentioned the 4 freshmen. Gio Paez was an end at Wisconsin last year. Paris Shand was an end at Arizona and LSU. It's not a depth problem. There's plenty of humans to play defensive tackle. I don't know if any of them can do it at the level required to play at LSU. I'm confident that this group would go out there and look completely normal in Vanderbilt Commodore uniforms. Like, you've got enough talent to go out there and look like Vanderbilt. Do you have enough talent to go out there and look like LSU? It's an if. I don't know. I hope Dominic McKinley's ready to play as a freshman. We've seen some guys go out there. Christian Locator was forced into action and held his own okay.
Mason Smith did it.
Mason Smith went out there a little bit and played. Mekhi Wingo, as a freshman at Missouri, was all freshman SEC. You just never really know. So again, as you bring Jvr Suggs into the program, it's worth a try. He's got 2 years of eligibility, and I would suggest there's probably a better than 50% chance that he's not capable of being a championship-level defender at LSU. Not a shot at him. I think that's the case for most of the guys in this room. But you've got a guy on your staff in Bo Davis that you feel like is one of the best developers of defensive linemen in the country. And he's going to have to find a way to get through 85, 90 snaps a game with this group. Maybe it's a little less than that with the rule change. I think it's probably closer to 80. But I'd be stunned if you had a first-team all-league player at defensive tackle. Stunned. But maybe you've got enough to hold your own. Maybe Jacobian Guillory in his 5th year becomes a strong player. Maybe Sean Washington, with some seasoning, coaching, and the resources that you've got in SEC school in the spring, summer, into the fall, develops into a strong player. Maybe Gio Paez, who's an old player, comes in and he's capable of helping. Maybe Paris Shand, with the added weight that you're going to put on him, can be a second-level interior player. And maybe Dominic McKinley is ready to help you out as a freshman for 10 or 11 snaps a game. And if that's the case and they can hold their own in front of Perkins and Penn and Weeks and those guys, maybe you've got enough up front to be a functional defense. You're not trying to field a Les Miles 2011 defense that's got to suffocate people. That is not what this sport is anymore, and LSU should have enough offense to offset your shortcomings. You just have to be functional. You just have to make some plays, get into some third downs, create some holding calls, and get some stops and hold teams to 21, 24 points. Back in the Les days, you're trying to hold them to 13 and ground and pound, and we're not doing that anymore. And I think a lot of times we've got in our head what an LSU unit should look like, whether it's a pitching staff or a defensive line or a wide receiving core or whatever, because we've been watching this thing for 20 years or 30 years or 50 years, and this is what it should look like. And if you're thinking about LSU defenses from 2003 through 2011, 12, well, it's probably not going to be to that standard. I'd be shocked if it was. But can they put up a fight? And again, it's not that you don't have enough guys and you're one injury away from being toast. I think that's what some people may think when they think about defensive tackle. You've got like 9 or 10 guys, but a lot of them are young or inexperienced or from a different level of football, and we just don't know. And that's the task that Bo Davis has in front of him. You've got clay worth of 9 or 10 guys. What can you mold? And if you can get better secondary play and high-level linebacker play, and your defensive line is just not some massive liability, I think they can be okay. And again, just like you can adjust your expectations on what an SEC and an LSU defense looks like, you also are in the process going from 2023 to 2024 and adjusting what your record has to be when Thanksgiving rolls around. No longer do you have to go 12-0. No longer do you have to beat Alabama and go 11-1. Those were the requirements to reach postseason entering this year. They are no longer. You don't have to beat Alabama now. Look at the teams that reached their goals here at LSU in the last 15 years. 07 beat Bama. 11 beat Bama. 19 beat Bama. 22 beat Bama. Those teams that got to Atlanta had to beat Alabama. You don't have to do that anymore. I'd like it if you did. It would help if you did. But I'm looking at 10-2. And you were one play from that last year. One catch in the end zone against Ole Miss from 10-2, which would have been good enough to get you in the playoff. And that was with no defense. Now, on the other side, you had the Heisman Trophy winner and 2 first-round wide receivers, and I get that. But it's a little different game now in terms of expectations with what your defense has to be from an output perspective and how many games you have to win. Can you marry that together and get into the playoff? Right now, as we sit here in May, I would not pick LSU to go to the playoff. But I would give them a chance. And I think today was a help. How big a help? I don't know. But you added a possibility into that 9-man defensive tackle rotation that might work. And you're just looking for options here so that 2 of them or 3 of them or 4 of them click. It's not a perfect situation, but it's not a 5-alarm grease fire. It's just not real reassuring. So LSU gets a commitment from Jvr Suggs at defensive tackle out of the transfer portal. Still got a couple of scholarships left, and they're going to continue to look to add. Is it at Louisville with the safety and defensive end that are coming in this week? We'll just have to see. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.